So last 2 weeks I was jumping between a few different parts, vertical stabilizer and the horizontal stabilizer for the most part, because I was missing some parts and I was waiting for some replacement part that was defective came in the package. I was match treating the a few holes on the vertical stabilizer to put in the rib nuts. So I think match treating the holes were fine, but what I think I did later on was that I match drilled, took apart the parts. I unclico took out the inner parts of the stiffener or the spar of the vertical stabilizer and installed the rib nuts on the inner parts just by itself, then put the rib nuts back in. So what happened there, I think if I had to do this again, I would not do it this way. What happened there was that when I took the parts apart and then installed the rib nuts just by itself, it shifted just a little bit. So when I put the parts back together, the hole on the rib nut did not perfectly align with the holes I just match drilled. So I don't think it's on this video, but later on when I installed the last few rib nuts, what I did was I unclico the parts, put the rib nut in, but do not squeeze it. Just put the rib nuts in and then re-clico the parts with the rib nuts loose back together, right? And then I used the rod, I used the rod from the rib nut puller as the guide to align the holes perfectly between the match drilled holes and the rib nut holes, and then just squeeze it with all the parts clico together. That way I was able to get perfectly aligned rib nut holes without really doing a whole lot of work. So just want to share that in case someone else was working on this part. And then I started to build the horizontal stabilizer. I already have the spars clicoed and riveted together. So the next step is to dimple the skins and fit the skin onto the spar and making sure it doesn't have any twist or ripple. So the first few steps were pretty standard. I deburred all the holes at the edges and I cleaned it up using simple grain, rinsed it and let it dry. Then I move on to the dimple part after marking the dimples on the skin. So I quickly realized the DRDT doesn't reach deep enough to dimple the holes that's really close to the bending edge unless I really try to bend the skin, which I don't want to do. So I asked on the Facebook group and most folks just said it can be done. I just had to make sure the DRDT2 overhangs on the table far enough so I have enough space below the tool to kind of place the skin without bending it significantly. So I tried that, moved the tool on a different table and made it overhand, and I also decided to build the jig that kind of expands the flat surface on the side of the tool. So here you can see what I was just basically cutting wood and then building the jig. So the jig the instruction for the jig actually came with the DRDT tool. I was just not skipping that step, and because I didn't need it before. So after building the jig, the rest was actually not too bad. I placed the skin on the After dimpling, I started to clickle the skin onto the spar assembly. The first few clickle was really hard because the skin had to be wrapped around the spar really tightly. So I had a pretty hard time to clickle the first few holes, and making sure they align perfectly. But once I had a few clickles on there, it became a little bit easier. So after I finished clicking one side, I kind of quickly checked the ripple. There were a few places with the ripple, so I decided to wait until I finished both sides and check again. So after I finished both sides, the ripple became lesser but still there, so I kind of took away all the clickles and then redid them a few times actually, but I was unable to fully get rid of the oil canning or the ripple. So I kind of sent a question to the Sling Technical, and so for now I'm just waiting for them to respond.